Happy Spider Monday, everyone. Hopefully you were able to go ahead and grab your tickets for Spider-Man No Way Home. I know I have not, so that's kind of a problem. But, we'll see how that goes. But anyways, like I said, today is Spider Monday, where we're not only getting the official release of tickets for Spider-Man No Way Home, but also we just got a pretty big update on the future of Spider-Man in the MCU. And not only that he has a future, but apparently a really big one. Because we just got an interview with Amy Pascal, who of course is kind of like the head of Spider-Man at Sony. She's kind of like the Kevin Feige of just specifically Sony Spider-Man stuff with Morbius and Venom and all that. So she has some huge involvement with Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios when it comes to these MCU Spider-Man movies. And now she just did a huge interview with Fandango, which dropped this morning, and revealed some pretty big stuff about the future of Spider-Man, confirming that we are getting more MCU Tom Holland movies after Spider-Man No Way Home, and actually a full-on trilogy. So let's go ahead and read this quote right here. Quote, "This is not the last movie that we are going to make with Marvel. This is not the last Spider-Man movie. We are getting ready to make the next Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland and Marvel. We're thinking of this as 3 films, and now we're going on to the next 3. This is not the last of our MCU movies." End quote. So already right there, you could see she emphasizes it. She says it like 3 different times there. This is not the last of our MCU Spider-Man movies. We're doing more. So much that they're doing an actual full second trilogy, which is kind of insane, especially when you think about that on like a bigger scale. Like just thinking about things in general, Tom Holland is going to be the first ever actor to do a full 6-film 2 trilogy thing in the MCU. I mean, the only one that's come close is Chris Hemsworth with Thor, because we know we're getting Thor 4 with Thor Love and Thunder, and who knows, that could go on just as long. But Iron Man only got 3 movies, Captain America only got 3 movies, except we're getting a Sam Wilson one, but now Spider-Man, he truly is the biggest Marvel character of all time. So it makes sense that if you're going to do that many movies for a character, it should be for Spider-Man, especially because this is a character you can really do in phases for each trilogy. This first trilogy, the Home trilogy with Homecoming, Far From Home, and now No Way Home, this is the kind of innocent Peter, as I'd like to call it, because it's his high school years, is where he's just first become Spider-Man, and this is the phase where he's loving being Spider-Man, he's loving being a superhero, and he's getting all this help from the Avengers and all that stuff. But we know that No Way Home, according to Tom Holland, is going to be brutal, and I have a theory that like by the end of this film, basically all the characters, all his friends and family from this franchise and this first trilogy is just going to be destroyed, and he's going to be almost like starting over from scratch in this next trilogy, because he is basically just going to have to start over, because most likely he's going to be graduating from high school. We know in No Way Home at this point he's a senior, so he's going to graduate, and then by the time we get into the second trilogy, he's most likely going to be going to college, but he's going to have to start over with all those relationships, because we know at least one of the main characters in No Way Home is going to die. We don't know exactly who that is. Is it Aunt May? Is it Happy Hogan? MJ? Ned? I don't know for sure, but what I do know for sure is that probably he's going to lose all of those characters. If Aunt May does not die in No Way Home, which I'm hoping she doesn't, then obviously she'll continue, because she's a big character and a big figure in Peter's life. And honestly, it'd be kind of ridiculous for him to not have an Aunt May, because she's so important. But pretty much every other character is going to be gone, whether they die or not. Happy, he's just going to go off on his own. MJ, whether she dies or not, she and Peter are probably going to break up. And then same goes for Ned. They're probably either he's going to die, or Ned's going to go become a villain, or they're just not going to be friends anymore. And that's when you're really going to get to start over in this new trilogy, with kind of getting to what we all know and love from classic Spider-Man, which has been one of the big complaints about this MCU trilogy, is because it just doesn't feel like Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is that type of character that struggles with balancing his whole life, and he doesn't really want to be a superhero because of the way it affects his life. So now you get to see basically this movie of No Way Home is going to show him the responsibility, and with great power comes great responsibility when it comes to this power. So he's going to have to start over, specifically when it comes to his friends and his romantic interests. Like, for example, his friends, if he loses Ned, his best friend, maybe in this next trilogy is going to get a new best friend, which of course would be Harry Osborn. So you could do the Harry Osborn and Oscorp and set up all that stuff, because I believe it actually was that Peter and Harry met in college. So that's something we could see for him there. And then of course when it comes to his love interest, I mean, Peter Parker is a ladies' man. He goes through so many women in the comics. So he and MJ, I have a feeling their relationship's going to end here. I don't know if she's going to be in the next trilogy, but I think their relationship is over. So that opens up the possibility for Peter to get with Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane or even Felicia Hardy. You could do Black Cat and all that stuff. And there's really just a lot more possibilities here, because again, you get into that kind of classic Spider-Man where he's now finally learned with great power comes great responsibility, and you see he's trying to juggle all these different aspects of his life, not only his actual superhero life, but also his love life, his social life with his friends, and also probably having to get a job, because I mean, at this point he's a senior in high school and he doesn't have a job. That's kind of sad. He needs, I mean, especially if he's going to college, I mean, he's going to need to be paying student loans and that stuff. So go work at the Daily Bugle. That'd be pretty awesome to see that actually happen. Or, you know what? Be like Tobey Maguire and have it be pizza time. You never know. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes in this second trilogy, and that's something I'm really, really excited to see Peter come into his own here, because like I said, this has been one of the biggest complaints with MCU Spider-Man, is that, oh, he doesn't understand his responsibility, and like he loves being Spider-Man, and Spider-Man isn't supposed to be like that. And that's why so many people want him to just graduate so they can see that adult Spider-Man. I personally have enjoyed this high school life for Peter Parker. That's an aspect I've always loved of the character. So I really enjoyed that, you know, we got that with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Those films, I mean, they were in high school for like a half hour of those movies. And now we get to see that fully in Tom Holland's franchise. So now he gets to graduate to the next part. And again, I've been a huge supporter of Peter Parker MCU in high school and all that stuff, but now recently, of course, now leading up to No Way Home, I've started rewatching the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. So the other day I just watched the 2002 Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, and it just really reminded me of pure Spider-Man, what this character really is at its core, and that's something that could really be explored now in this second trilogy. And there's so many things that you can do with this leading up to possibly an actual Sinister Six, because we know we're getting to at least a Sinister 5, because there may only be 5 villains in No Way Home, but that's a multiversal version of the team. We need to get an actual MCU Sinister Six where we have characters like Vulture and Mysterio and Shocker and whoever else, maybe in Aaron Taylor Johnson's Kraven, coming in here and really building up to that. And that's something you could do, especially if that's like kind of the big final battle, like No Way Home Endgame type thing in the third movie of the second trilogy, which would actually be the sixth movie. So I think that'd be pretty cool to do a Sinister Six movie as the sixth movie of this franchise. I think that'd be pretty cool to see. But yeah, there's just so much more you can do now with Peter being in college and him going into his adult life. Bring in Venom, do that crossover. Like I said, do the Oscorp stuff. There's so much possibilities when it comes to Peter in his second trilogy, and possibly even beyond that. Of course, Daniel RPK, as you know probably at this point, very reliable source, he was talking about this earlier this morning and was mentioning that like I said before, with Tom Holland being the first MCU actor to get a 6-film franchise, but could possibly even be more than that. And we know, of course, we're also getting the animated series on Disney Plus with Spider-Man Freshman Year, so that's also MCU canon. We don't know if Tom Holland's doing the voice or not, but that's happening as well. There's also been rumors that we're getting multiple Spider-Man animated series within the MCU on Disney Plus that would kind of fill in the gaps between movies. So yeah, there's really so much that they can do with this, and I love this because this is what I've always wanted them to do, because it's something that, one of the biggest reasons I love Spider-Man animated series like Spider-Man the Animated Series and Spectacular Spider-Man, because in series format you can really explore all these characters, and with a 3-film trilogy you don't really have time to do all these characters justice and explore all those things. But with 6 movies and plus animated series on Disney Plus, there's a lot you can do with this character, and it's just gonna be, that's something I'm really excited to see with No Way Home. It's just that instant change within Peter Parker, where he goes from being just I mean, already you're seeing it with the aftermath of Spider-Man Far From Home, with his identity being revealed to the world, him having to truly learn that with great power comes great responsibility. He may even learn that from one of the other Spider-Man, either Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire or Uncle Ben, because maybe we'll actually find out about Uncle Ben at some point. But anyways, guys, yeah, this is some awesome news. I'm so excited for it. It's been rumored for the longest time, but now Amy Pascal herself has finally confirmed it, so it's happening. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about this huge news that Tom Holland Spider-Man, his future is bright in the MCU, and he's going to be getting a second trilogy in the MCU after Spider-Man No Way Home? So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.